Hi children, how are you all? I hope all you are fine. Children, in that previous video, what we discussed, we discussed up to that simple equations, right? In this video, we are going to discuss about that new topic, that is lines and angles. In that name only there, what is that, ma? Lines and angles. We know that different types of lines, and in the same way, in our surroundings, we can observe that so many angles, no? So that kind of angles, and in the same way, we can observe that so many types of lines also. Okay, about those two we will discuss in this video. Okay ma, in this topic totally related to lines and angles. Before going to that, children, if you want to write something, okay, if you want to write something means anything, that is your wish. For example, if you want to write your name, where you will write? You want to write it on somewhere, right? But if you want to write your name, or if you want to draw something, at least just you need that one surface. Yes or no ma? You need that one flat surface or else curved surfaces also. Here, if curved surface is there, means it is not possible to draw that one of the figure exactly. Okay, curved surfaces means one ball. We can take that ball. Ball surface is there, no? On that ball surface, you cannot show that one of the figure exactly. Okay, it's a total figure where you can show that on that flat surface. Am I clear to you? That flat surface, children see here I written that lines and angles. Name I written, no? I written on one of the surface, and this is a flat surface. Okay, so this kind of flat surface, it can be extended endlessly in all directions, which means, for example, first I chosen that one of the small paper. Okay, next I taken that big paper. Next I chosen here the board. Next maybe I will choose the wall. Okay, these all are that flat surfaces only, no? See here, what we will call all these flat surfaces means these all are called as planes. What are those, ma? Plane. So what is the definition of a plane here? A flat surface or a smooth surface. A flat surface which can be extended. Surface which can be extended endlessly in all directions. Endlessly in all directions is called a plane. Understood ma? What is the meaning of this one? Here plane means if you want to write something, anything if you want to write, or anything if you want to write, at least we need that one surface. Okay, and that surface is that flat surface which can be extended endlessly in all directions. Then we can consider this one as a plane. Okay ma, this is the shape of a plane. Or for example, here this is a rectangular shape, no? And this rectangular shape, and this is the flat surface. So this one also we can consider it as a plane. Okay, which one we can take it as examples for that plane? Here we can show that here blackboard as the example, and in the same way wall. Wall is also one of the flat surface. We can write anything on the board and we can draw anything on the wall. Okay, that's why we can show that wall also one of the example for that plane. And in the same way, the top surface of the book. In that book we are using for writing, no, papers. The top surface of the paper. Okay, where we will write on that paper, on the top surfaces only, no, on the surface of the paper. So that top surface or that surface of the paper also we can consider it as a plane. Understood? Now here see that, here what is the name of this plane means I given one of the letter to this one. Okay, so you can choose that any letter. Here I given the letter as E. What we will call this plane ma here? Plane E. Plane E. Understood? Now here see the children, here if I want to change the name means I will take that another name also. Okay, that is depends on your wish only. Here I taken that plane E. Okay, it can be extended endlessly in all directions, I said, no? See here, if you want to increase that, if you want to enlarge that plane, then like this also you will take, no, plane. Okay, so it can be extended endlessly in all directions. It was increased here. That's why this is also one of the plane, that is a plane P. Okay, now here see that this is about that plane. If you want to write anything at that starting point, always you need to start with a point. Yes or no? If you want to write A, for that purpose also just you have to keep your pen on that surface. Okay, Just to put it out, just what figure you can observe here, that is a dot. Okay, that dot is nothing but here point. Point means marking a position. What is that point, ma? Point means marking a position. Okay, if you want to write that B, the letter B, at that cases also just you have to keep your pen like this only, no? Just put it back side. See here. At that cases what you can observe, ma, here? Again you can observe that one of the dot. Okay, by using that dot only, from that starting point of that dot only you can write that B. Understood? And in the same way, if you want to write anything, if you want to draw anything, first that is starting with that point only. Understood? Then what we will call that point? What is the meaning of that point, ma, here? Point is nothing but marking a position. Point means marking a position. Understood, ma? Now here say that, for example, here this is a plane. On this plane, I kept here one of the point. Okay, then how I will read that point here? So we can choose that any one of the letter. Those also capital letters. Here I written that A. And this is the plane E. On that plane E, here I kept that one of the point. I named that point as A. Okay, then how we will read this one, ma? Point A. Okay, children, now see that here point is having that marking a position. But one thing, it doesn't have any magnitude. Any magnitude means it doesn't have any length. Okay, a point is not having that length. A point is not having that breadth. And a point is not having that thickness. That's why here this is not having any magnitude. Okay, what is that, my first point? A point has no magnitude. Understood? And points always represents with a capital letter, or points always represented by a capital letters. Points always represented by a capital letter. Always represented or denoted by a capital letter. Understood, ma? Now here say that, here I kept that another point. That point I named as B. Then how we will read that point, ma? That is a point B. And this is a point A and this is a point E. Point B. And in the same way here point C. Understood? So how many points we can draw in a plane? Infinitely many points we can position. We can keep in that point, in that plane. We can draw that or we can just mark that infinitely many points on a plane. Understood, ma? Now here say that what we will call these all points? Coplanar points. Coplanar points means points lies on the same plane. Then we will call those points are coplanar points. 3 or more points lies on a 3 or 2 or more points lies on a 3 or more points lies on a same plane. 3 or more points lies on a same plane are called coplanar points. Are called coplanar points. Am I clear to you, ma? Now here see that how many points we can draw? Infinitely many points we can choose. Just we can mark it on the plane. Understood, ma? Now here what we will call all those points? All the points on a same plane we can observe, no? Then we will call all the points are coplanar points. Understood? Now here say that one of the plane I chosen that. Here this is the board. Okay, this board I chosen as a plane. On this plane, here I kept that one of the point, that is the point A. Okay, I taken one of the point, that is point A. How many lines we can draw through that a point? Actually, before going to that, what are the types of lines means? Actually, we can say that curved lines and straight lines. Okay, straight lines also again we are having some types, no, intersecting lines like that. Okay, now here say that how many lines we can draw? How many lines we can draw by using one point? See here, this is one of the line. This is one of the line. Here I want to take one more line through the same point. Here this is another line. Now this is another line. So by this way, here how many lines you can draw ma here? Infinitely many lines you can draw by using one point or through one point. What is that point ma here? Infinitely many points, sorry, infinitely many lines can draw through a single point. Through a single point. Understood ma? Now here see that, here I kept that one of the point, no? Through that point, if only two lines are passed like this, through that one point, if only two lines are passed like this, then we will call these two lines are intersecting lines. What we will call those ma? Intersecting lines. Okay? These are the types of lines we will discuss later also in that concept 4. Again we are having the types of lines. There we will discuss about that. What about that intersecting line? What about that perpendicular lines? What about that some other lines there, no? Concurrent lines, parallel lines. Those all we will discuss in that concept 4. Children, now see that here intersecting lines. If that more than two lines means 3 or more lines. How many lines ma? 3 or more lines passing through the same point like this. Then what we will call this kind of lines means concurrent lines. What are those ma? Concurrent lines. Understood? This kind of only two lines are passed means intersecting lines. More than two lines means 3 or more lines passed through the same point means those are known as concurrent lines. Understood ma? Now here see that, for example, I chosen the 2 points, just I kept the 2 points on a plane. Only 2 points I kept on a plane. Understood? Now how many lines we can draw here? By joining 2 points, how many lines we can draw here? See that. Just by joining these two here, only one line we can draw that. How many lines we can draw? Only one line we can draw that passing through 2 points. Only one line can draw passing through 2 points. Passing through how many points ma? Passing through 2 points. For example, only one point they given means infinitely many lines we can draw that. And in the same way here 2 points they given on a plane means here how many lines we can draw here? Here we can draw that only one line. Understood? Children, here for example 3 points are given. Okay. Now here on a plane, here I taken that 3 points. 3 points, and by joining here one of the line, by joining 3 points on the same line. Okay. Just by joining 3 points, here we got that one of the line, that is the same line passing through the 3 points A, B, C. Okay. Now what we will call these 3 points? Now here these 3 points are called collinear points. What are those ma? Collinear points. Understood children? Okay, why? Because here collinear points means 3 or not only 3 points, 3 or more points lies on a same line are called collinear points. Okay children, now here see that, for example, only one point is there means infinitely many lines we can draw that. 2 points there means only one line we can draw that. For example, 3 points there means 3 points also non-collinear points. Non-collinear points means 3 points not lies on the same line, then those points are called non-collinear points. Understood? Now here that kind of 3 or 4 non-collinear points we taken. How many lines we can draw here? Okay, here we are having that one of the formula ma. What is that means? See here. Number of lines can join by given number of points. Points is n into n minus 1 by 2. What is that formula here? That is n into n minus 1 by 2. So children, here n is equals to what ma? N is equal to number of points. N is equal to number of points given. And here what is that formula to find that how many lines we can draw that by joining all the given points? Means here the formula is n into n minus 1 by 2. Okay, just check here. For example, 1 point. How many points ma? 1 point. 1 point means how much you will get here? Infinitely many lines already I told you know. That's why here more than 1 point, just choose that. Here for example 2 points. Okay. Why? Because already you know that by taking 1 point we can draw that infinitely many lines. Okay, here also you will get that 1 minus 1 0. 0 by 2 means again you will get it as 0, which means here that value is not equals to 0 ma. Just by taking that 1 point we can draw that infinitely many lines. Okay, now here see that by taking 2 points, 2 into 2 minus 1 by 2. Clear ma? Just substitute that n is equals to 2 here. Now 2 and 2 gets cancelled. 2 minus 1, which is equals to only one line we can draw here. Already I told you know this one here. By joining 2 points, how many lines we will get ma? Only one line we will get. And in the same way here, 3 points. Okay, now here n is equals to 3. 3 into 3 minus 1 by 2. Now here 3 into 3 minus 1 is equal to 2 by 2. 2 and 2 gets cancelled, then here how many lines we can draw here? 3 lines. And one more thing here, 3 number of points means these all are should be non-collinear points. If those points are collinear points means we will get that only one line. Okay, but here we should take that only non-collinear points ma. Okay, now here see that 4 points. By taking 4 points, how many lines you will get here? 4 into 4 minus 1 by 2. 2 ones, 2 twos. And here 2 into 4 minus 1 is equal to 3. Then here 2 into 3 is equal to 6. Then we can draw here 6 lines we can draw here. Understood ma? So this is the formula. What is that formula here? Number of lines can join by given number of non-collinear points. By joining number of non-collinear points here, number of non-collinear points means that is depends on the given number of non-collinear points. How many lines we can join means here the formula is n into n minus 1 by 2. Understood ma? Yes. After this one we are having that coplanar lines. Up to now we discussed about that coplanar points and collinear points, non-collinear points like that. On the same plane, if you draw that infinitely many lines, right? Like this you will write the, you can draw that number of lines. Okay, these all lines also lies on the same plane. Yes or no? For example, this is one of the plane, plane P. Here on that plane, here I drawn that 3 lines, 3 different lines. Okay, 3 different lines I drawn on the same plane. Yes or no? 3 lines also I drawn here on the same plane. Then we will call these lines are coplanar lines. Okay, coplanar lines means lines passing through the same plane. Lines passing through the same plane. Same plane are called coplanar lines. Understood ma? Coplanar points means points lies on that, okay, 3 or more points lies on that same plane, then we will call that points as coplanar points. Now here more lines passing through the same plane, then we will call that those lines are coplanar lines. Understood? Children, see that after this one we are having that by joining 2 lines, okay, by joining 2 lines, here we will get a figure like this. By joining 3 lines just like this, by joining 3 non-collinear points, here we will get that one of the figure. Okay, by joining 2 points we get like this. Here I taken like this ma. Then here by joining these 2 lines, here I get like that one of the line. Okay, we will call this one as a line segment. That one we will discuss in that concept too. Okay, just to see that like this there. Here I am not just joining these 2 points ma. I am not joining those 2 points. Children, here what we can observe here ma? Here we can observe that 2 different figures ma. This is closed figure. Yes or no? And this is the open figure. And in the same way, which figure this is? That is the open figure. Why? Because here open is there. No. That's why that is the open figure. What about this? This is a closed figure. And what we will call this figure here? This is open figure or closed figure? That is closed figure. Why? Because there is no open here, right? That's why that is a closed figure. Now here children, what is the definition of that open figure and closed figure means? See here, open figure means it has 2 points. Open figure means a figure which is having 2 different points. What are those two? What are those points means? One is starting point, another one is ending point. Understood? A figure which is having 2 different points. Two different points. One is one is starting point, and another one is ending point. Understood ma? What about that open figure here? Open figure means just see that here onwards I am starting. So what I told you that if you want to start anything, if you want to write anything, if you want to draw anything, here always you must start with a point, right? Here from this point I want to start here. Just I drawn here one of the figure like this. C. We can observe here the letter C like that, right? Now here see the children, here this is that starting point, here onwards I started and this is the ending point. Okay, now this figure is having the 2 different points or not? Yes, of course, this is the starting point and this is the ending point. And in the same way, I want to take that one more. Is it a closed figure or open figure ma? This is also open figure. Why? Because here this is having a starting point and ending point, 2 different points there, no? That's why here this is also open figure. So what is the definition of that open figure ma? A figure which is having that 2 different points. One is the starting point, another one is ending point. Then those figures are called open figures. Understood? Now here see that ma. Next, closed figure. Closed figure means what here? Closed figure means a figure which is having only one point. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? A figure which is having only one point, which means a figure which is having both ending point and starting points are the same. Okay, see that. A figure which is having both starting point and ending point are same. Understood ma? Open figure means both ending point and starting points are different. Now here ending point and starting point both are same. Okay, now here see that, just I want to start from here, this is the starting point, just I drawn like this, again I came here to join with the starting point. Understood? Wherever I started, again I came to there, that point only, right? Now here the starting point and the ending point of this figure both are same or not? Yes, of course both are same only. Okay, that's why we will call this kind of figures are closed figures. Okay, and in the same way, see that. Is it a closed figure or an open figure ma? See that closed figure only. Why? Because here I started, again I came here only, no? That's why both starting point and ending point both are same only, no? That's why here this is also a closed figure. Understood? And in the same way, what about this figure ma? This is also a closed figure. Why? Because here ending point and starting point both are same. This is also a closed figure. Now come to that simple closed figure. What is that, ma? Simple closed figure. Okay, simple closed figure means what? A figure, it does not cross itself. A figure, it does not cross itself, which means, see here, a figure which does not cross itself. Itself is called a simple closed figure. Understood, ma? Does not cross itself means, see here, ma, this is one of the figure is there, no? See that here, this figure is crossed itself here. Okay, this is a closed figure but not simple closed figure. This is a closed figure but not a simple closed figure. Understood, ma? This is a closed figure but not a simple closed figure. Why? Because this figure crossed itself here. Okay, but as per our definition, what is that? A figure which does not cross itself. Okay, then here which kind of figures are simple closed figures? See here, ma. So this is a simple closed figure. Why? Because here there is no crossings here. Okay, here I started, again I came up to here, then that is the ending point. Understood? Is there any other intersecting points here? Is there any possible to observe that any intersecting points, ma, here? No possibility. Here intersecting points are not there. Okay, but here intersecting point is there. Yes, of course, here intersecting point is there. Okay, intersecting point I am telling, no. So what about that intersecting point means? At the starting of this class, I told you that two lines passing through the same point, then what we will call, ma? Those two lines are intersecting lines. And that intersecting, that point is there, no. From that which point those two lines are passing, that point is called intersecting point. Okay, and in the same way, concurrent lines also passing through that, three or more lines passing through the same point. At that cases, from that only one point we can draw that infinitely many lines. Okay, then those lines we will call them as concurrent lines. And that point is there, no, ma? That point is called point of concurrence. Understood? Now here see that. Here point is there, no? This is called intersecting point. Okay, intersecting point. And at this case, here infinitely many lines passing through the same point, no? Then we will call this point as a concurrent point. Okay. Now here say that, here we are having that intersecting point, no? But this figure is having any intersecting points here, not having any intersecting points. That's why we will call this one as a simple closed figure. Simple closed figure. Understood, ma? So this is about that concept 1, what they given in that concept 1. First they given that, and in the same way space also they given in that concept 1, ma. So space means nothing here. Plane means the flat surface we are saying, no? And in the same way, planes and lines, those all we can draw on that space. Okay, the set of infinite points, that is called a space. For example, see that here, around that board, here this is a space. In this space, we kept that this board. And this board consider as, the flat surface, consider it as a plane. On that plane, here we are drawing that lines. That's why here lines and in the same way planes are the subsets of space. Understood, ma? After that, here see that in that concept 1, what they given? Firstly, space we are having. In that space, we can draw that planes. On that plane only, we can draw that anything. Understood, ma? So on that plane, we can draw that a point. Point is nothing but marking a position. Understood? And by taking one point, we can draw that infinitely many lines. And in the same way, by taking 2 points, we can join that. By joining those 2 points, we will get that only one line. And in the same way, how many lines we can draw that by using given non-collinear points means what is that formula here? N into n minus 1 by 2. Okay ma. And in the same way here types of figures also, open figure, closed figure and simple closed figure. Okay, about this we discussed in this video. In that next video we will discuss about that the worksheet which is related to concept 1. Okay, and that worksheet 1 also related to basic concepts only ma. These all are that basic concepts of his geometry. Understood? Okay, here onwards this is the beginning points, just basic concepts. Understood? After that worksheet 1 we are having that concept 2, we will discuss in that next continuation videos. Okay, thank you all.